Let's say I had a terminal illness, like my time was running out. Where would I want to live full time? Would it be Germany or would it be the USA? I know that sounds dramatic, but questions like this strip away all of the noise. They get to the core of what really matters. Because suddenly freedom doesn't look like what we usually think like it does. It's not about speed, it's not about convenience or doing whatever the fuck that you want, whenever you want. It's about peace of mind. It's about security. It's about dignity. Having the system work for you when you need it the most. And this thought came to me not while I was doing something dramatic. It actually was during a total random moment while I was in Switzerland last week. I was there for a few meetings and someone in the office mentioned that it was her wash day. That one small comment led me down this rabbit hole about how different ideas of freedom are depending on where you are in life, especially between USA and Europe. So I was in Switzerland for the last 2 weeks and I was having meetings with these two people. One was a younger woman in her 20s and the other one was in her 50s. And one day the younger woman mentioned that she had to leave early because it was her wash day. And I was like, what does that mean? I'd never even heard of that before. So she explained to me that in her apartment building, they had a shared one laundry room where each tenant gets a day in a week to do their laundry. And that's it. No flexibility, no switching days. You get that day, and if you miss it, then tough luck. And honestly, coming from US, I was stunned. I mean, I lived in US in apartment buildings a few times, and I've had the shared laundry area. It's always been first come, first serve. And this idea that you get one assigned day, and if you miss it, that's your problem. And that felt a little intense to me. And she didn't like it either because she said that you guys probably don't have this idea in the USA. And she rolled her eyes and I could tell that she was annoyed by this idea as well. So while this exchange was going on between me and her, the older woman chimed in and she said, well, this is how it should be. It's fair. Everyone gets a turn. This is how society works. And right there and then I saw something fascinating. Two people living in the same country, following the same rules, but feeling completely different about them. One sees structure and the other sees limitation. And that moment stuck with me because it wasn't really about laundry anymore. It was about something deeper, how differently we experience the same rules depending on where we are in life and also what we value in life at the moment where we are in life. For the younger woman, the assigned wash day felt like a burden, whereas for the older woman, it was more of a common sense thing. It was structure, it was fairness, it was avoiding chaos. And that contrast made me think that maybe how we define freedom isn't just about culture or geography anymore. Maybe it's also about generation, because I've seen such a vast difference between how younger people view freedom and how people in their 40s, 50s, 60s view freedom. For younger generation, freedom might mean more flexibility, being able to change your plans, to do things your way. And as you get older, freedom perhaps becomes more about predictability, not having to fight for space or to keep up with everything, having that peace of mind with knowing what you expect. So when we ask, who is freer? Which country is more free, the US or Germany or Switzerland? Maybe it's not that simple. It depends on what kind of freedom you're looking for. The conversation about laundry got me thinking about all the ways we design life around freedom and how different that looks depending on where you are in life and where you live in life. In the US, for example, freedom means individual autonomy, making your own choices, do what you want, when you want. Nobody is stopping you. You want to wash your clothes at 2 a.m.? Go for it. You want to start a business and drop out of school? Go for it. It's totally possible. But with that freedom comes pressure. You have to figure everything out on your own. You have to figure out healthcare, education, housing. There's no safety net. And on the contrary, in places like Germany Or in Switzerland, freedom looks very different. There are more rules, there's more structure, but also that comes with a lot more support than you have in the USA. You may not get to do whatever you want whenever you want, but you're also not constantly bracing for impact. It's a different kind of freedom. It's less about unlimited choices. It's more about knowing the basics are covered in life. So then going back to the question which I started with, if I had a terminal illness, which country would I choose to live in, Germany or the USA? Because that question puts everything into perspective. When life gets serious, when health becomes fragile, freedom starts to look very different. Do you want freedom to pick from 20 different insurances, from 20 different insurance plans, but still get a huge bill? Or do you want the freedom where you don't have to worry about cost because it's already taken care of? Do you want to live anywhere your heart desires, even if you're isolated, uncertain, unsupported? Or do you want the kind of freedom that comes from safety net, a society that shows up for you when you need it? No place is perfect. Germany has its own issues, and I have issues with Germany, same as in the USA. USA has its own issues, and when I'm here for 6 months out of the year, I have my personal issues with living here as well. So this isn't about which country is better. It's about what kind of life feels more free to you in that given moment where you are in life. And honestly, my answer today might be very different than my answer 10 years ago or 10 years from the future. Because freedom isn't just a political idea, it's personal. It changes with age, with circumstances, with what really matters. So maybe there's no one definition of freedom that fits everyone. Some crave structure, some want to be spontaneous, some want that safety net. Others want a wide open sky with endless possibilities. But the beauty in these questions is that they make us pause and think. They make us ask, what do I actually value? What kind of freedom makes me feel most alive? And I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts. What does freedom mean to you? And has your definition of freedom changed over time, as you aged, as you experience things? Maybe the real freedom is being able to question what really freedom is and what really matters in life. I will post a vlog of what my experience in Switzerland was next week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.